Hello, and welcome to Writing with Kids, inspired by picture books. My name is Sarah Scoggin, and I'm the early childhood librarian at the Newburgh Free Library, Newburgh, New York. This video is part of a series that I was doing with ways that picture books can inspire us to write. So now that we've seen a few different ways to do that, it's time for us to write our own stories. You could start by taking a story that exists, such as There's a Rocket in My Pocket, and just re-illustrating it. So this is by Dr. Seuss, and I just looked at one page spread here where our main character has a Noro in his bureau and a Wazit in his closet. And so if I use the exact same text, I could say, well, what do I think that would be like? So I have here, this is what I think a Noro in the bureau looks like. It's kind of like a little bird cat. And this is my Wazit in the closet, a little seal feature with scales. I could re-illustrate a book. And it would, because I'm only doing one page, or if you did a whole book just for your own enjoyment and you're not posting it anywhere, then you wouldn't be violating copyright. You could do this with any story. Walk in My Pocket and other silly books like this lend themselves to re-illustration, but you could use any book to create your own illustrations. You could just start off with telling your own stories very simply. So there are many templates available online, or you can draw your own as I've done here. You could just have 3 boxes, beginning, middle, and end, and have children draw what happens in the story. Just to get them started with the elements of a story. I just drew a few things here. The way that a comic book works, you could just draw pictures, or you could draw it as a comic with little speech bubbles to show that represents speaking. If they're just starting to learn the conventions of how comics work, there's a little wow with the spiky circle around it, or a baseball that's flying that has lines to show that it's moving. So you could just do a simple exercise like this. I really like doing something just a step up in complexity. So here's my little story. It's just 4 boxes, and you could have children draw a story and then tell you what to say in each panel, and the adults can write it down. If they want to start writing it, you can attach another sheet of paper so they have more room if they write larger, or if they want to write more text for each picture. So this is my story called Every Flavor. Once there was a man who wanted to try every flavor of ice cream in the entire world, everywhere. He was called Ivan. Here he is with his ice cream going to the sky. He tried Rodeo Crunch in the West. And we have Creamery Ranch up here. Extra Vanilla in Ohio. Caramel Crunch in Boston. Even Rocky Road in the Rockies. He tried every flavor in the USA. Next, Ivan traveled all over the world trying spice ice cream in India, crispy crunch in the Congo, red bean ice cream in Japan, and then every flavor in the world. But had he missed any? We have Ivan back in his kitchen. Then Ivan realized that he couldn't try every single flavor in the world because he could always invent his own. There would always be more new ideas to try. Hooray! And there he is thinking about making chocolate lavender tea ice cream. So, the end. This is just a fun exercise on one page, or you could do both sides to tell a story. But it's a good practice just to have children tell stories, practice writing them, practice drawing them, practice thinking through stories, coming up with ideas. Here's one thing that is just sort of like an exercise for your creativity, not so much a story per se. And that's to do what I might call a reverse Pictionary. So the game is played by having a blank piece of paper with a marker or a pen, and then you have a timer, and you have maybe 20 to 30 seconds, and everyone has to draw a picture, a simple picture. You can give a theme for everyone to draw, like breakfast or food or something, or you could just leave it totally open. I chose to do some fruit or breakfast, so I have banana, an orange, and some juice here. And so when that timer goes off, you reset it, and you pass the picture to the next person. So you have, it's like a party game or several people in a circle, and then you restart the timer, and then the next person has to redraw, like draw over what you've already drawn. So if I was handed this, and now I have 20 seconds or 30 seconds to change this picture. So I turned the orange with its leaf into a palm tree and a sort of round little raft there. I turned the banana into a kayak, and I turned this juice box into a juice shop. So now all of a sudden it's a beach scene. So this is kind of a fun exercise, as long as the children are old enough not to get upset that you're drawing over what they drew. But it's just a little brain stretcher. And you could tell a story then based on what you have drawn, but just kind of a fun game. You could tell your own story with pictures cut out of magazines. So I had a catalog of art and art workshops, and I just cut out some pictures, and here's my sort of one-page story. Once upon a time, there were friends that lived in this house, and they had a wonderful garden, and they decided they were going to throw a party for their friend who lived in the woods, their friend the badger. So the butterfly baked a pie, the bee swept the floor with this little broom, the cook made a salad, and the wolf went to his room to practice his violin. And I could go on and tell the story, with or without adding more pictures. But this was just kind of like a fun story starter, because I never would have thought of this story if I hadn't been just flipping through the pages and found these pictures that struck me, and I said, oh, I bet I could tell a story with those. If you want, you can really use anything to be the jumping off point for a story. This is a cross stitch picture. I love cross stitching, so I was planning on doing this picture, and then I could use that to illustrate a story. I could use small little cross stitch pictures to tell a story. So you can really tell a story with almost anything. So just to have fun with that. You could tell a story using photos. So I mentioned this in an earlier video. I took some plastic toys and I brought them outside, and I took pictures of them to create a photo story, and I will put a link to that up in the card. It's called The Adventures of Cloud, Shadow, and Max. So you could take pictures on a phone. You don't have to upload them to PowerPoint as I did. You could just go through the pictures and tell a story that. You could, of course, just start writing and seeing what inspires you. But I think this pencil's too small. I want to write a really big story. Okay, that's better. One last thing is something called Story Jumper. It's one of many, many online tools for creating stories. I really like it because it's simple to use. It's completely free if you want to keep your story as an ebook. So you create it online, and if you store it on their server, it is completely free, although you can buy it if you want. I think it's very helpful for teachers, because teachers can have each individual student, they can add them to one account, so you have your whole class in there, and then each student can write a story, or you can have one story and then add all the students as collaborators, so you all can work on one story collaboratively. Let me give you a quick tour of how it works. So here is Story Jumper, as mentioned. These are a few of the books that I created online. And let me just take you through quickly how you would create your own book. You log in, create your own account. It's free to have your books online. So I'm going to click on Create Book, and I'm going to start with a blank one. So here we have our blank book, and we can start creating our story. So you could start by putting in a box for text, blank one, or a scroll, or a speech bubble, and I'll write, this is the beginning of the story. And I can add a background, maybe a forest, or a little town, or a galaxy, whatever I want to add. I can use a photo, an actual photo, or I can upload a photo of something to be the background. And then, of course, I need some characters and some props. So let's see, who should be in my story? This woman here,
and I can make her bigger and smaller. I can change the direction she's in, and let's say I want to have something in the house, so I will type home. I'm going to get some things to go in the house, so maybe a table or some chairs, and they're going to fly over there to my little menu of things that I can pick. Okay, and then I'm going to click over here. And here we go. Here's a table for the house. So as you can see, I can design one by one the pages of the story. And I can add my voice. I can record myself saying this is the beginning of the story. I can add music. This is the beginning of the story, and I will show you something that I already made. Okay, so here's some books that I made. Here's one I called E-I-E-I Know. E-I-E-I Know by S. Scoggin. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O, and on this farm he had a cow, E-I-E-I-O. With a moo-moo here and a moo-moo there, here a moo, there a moo, everywhere a moo-moo. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O, and on this farm he had some chickens, E-I-E-I-O. Wait, some chickens? I only see one. Oh, with a cheep cheep here and a cheep cheep there, here cheep, there cheep, everywhere cheep cheep. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I ox? No, it's a water buffalo. Interesting choice for a domestic animal. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O, and on this farm had a water buffalo, E-I-E-I-O. No, a tiger! Run! Maybe we should head to the field. Right. Let's try again. On this farm he had some ladybugs, E-I-E-I-O. Right. Ladybugs don't make noise. They are good for keeping plants healthy, but not good for this song. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. Okay, this is getting ridiculous. Could we have something else, please? A monkey? Oh, fine. With an eek eek here and an eek ooh there, here and ooh there, everywhere. Ooh. Old MacDonald had a farm. I know. Absolutely not. Nope. Nuh-uh. Not you either. That is totally illogical. None of you are even animals. You know what? I have a better idea. Old MacDonald didn't have a farm. He had a story. All are welcome. The end.
So I hope you find these tips and ideas helpful. I chose to do this video series partly because the upcoming summer reading program theme for libraries is called Imagine Your Story, so all about stories. There will be more information about that summer programming forthcoming. But just enjoy writing and being writers, and thank you so much for watching.